You're listening to Winnipeg's Classic 107. My name is Simon Rusnak. This week, the Royal Winnipeg Ballet presents the ultimate love story, Romeo and Juliet, a crowning achievement in the company's repertoire. The timeless tragedy unfolds on the Centennial Concert Hall stage with Rudy Von Danzig's inventive choreography and Sergei Prokofiev's lush and stunning score. Joining the RWB company with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra in the pit are Craig Ramsay and Catherine Wreford, reprising their roles as Lord and Lady Capulet. Though you may better know them as winners of Amazing Race Canada Season 8. The Lord and Lady Champions have joined me in the studio this morning. Hello to you both.
Hi.
Oh, I'm jealous of your ability with words.
I know,
That was brilliant.
Well, I'm jealous of your being the Amazing Race Champions. We're going to get to that in
You
just
should
a
be
little
jealous
bit.
of the trucks. They're beautiful.
Yeah, they are.
I was going to say. Again, we will get to that. But first, move over Shakespeare. Yours is a most inspiring story, and I'd like to begin where most stories begin, at the beginning. Can we talk about how the RWB brought you two together?
Well, we first met there 27 years ago, I think, maybe even 28. We just sort of...
It was a love story.
It was a love story.
Like Romeo and Juliet, but we're not a couple.
Yeah,
by
we're
any
definitely not a
means.
couple.
No.
But we were introduced by a friend, and she just thought we had the same loves of everything.
Same passion, I would say, because we love dance, and the RWB is where it started for us. The foundation we got there not only gave us the incredible Broadway careers and film and TV, not only dance, but the acting, the artistry from the RWB, but then a full circle.
Also
coming back.
mentored by Arnold Spohr, who was such an important part of our lives. And when we go into the ballet, we can still feel him there. So it's actually really cool.
Yeah, it's a love story of friendship that has been through a lot. Read the book when it comes out.
Oh, yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah, well, okay, so let's talk more about that. From Winnipeg to Toronto to New York, where you both, as you just alluded to, ended up on Broadway. Yeah. Certainly sounds like a dream. And then 2013, an absolute nightmare. This is something that you've talked a lot about, Catherine. Can you tell us more about the diagnosis?
Yeah, well, Craig was visiting me. I asked if I could have Craig for my birthday. So...
to visit,
yeah. Not to have him, but
classic
for him to visit,
station.
Classic music station.
Keep this
for
family
him to visit
rated,
me. And so he flew out, and we were making a video of my daughter, and I said, my head hurts too much. We have to stop, and he knows me better than anyone else that I would not stop doing what I was doing. And so he said, you have to go to the doctor. And I ended up going the day after he left, and they did a CT scan and found this huge lump in my head, and he was the first person I called. And
what is it?
It's an anaplastic astrocytoma, and it was bigger than my fist.
Which
and
means?
It's grade 3, which will turn into grade 4, which is the glioblastoma. And I was given 2 to 6 years to live, and it's been more than 10, and I like to say I'm past my expiration date. And dancing helped save my life.
Like, and what's your proud nickname that you take on?
Cancer dancer.
Oh.
And ballet bodybuilder is what you are.
Yeah.
It's
my nickname.
I was going to say a couple of great ones, and just such harrowing events, but such an inspiring story. I got to ask, how you doing today?
Great. Great. I try to keep in the best shape that I can, but I have family and friends, and they keep me wanting to just be there for them. And so just celebrating life with my family and with my chosen family too, which is also Craig. And it reminds me that how short life is. And you just have to live it one day at a time.
Craig, what was it like, going through this with your best friend?
Going through life or something more specific?
Yeah, well, I mean, just this whole experience, but especially, the past 11 years.
Well, let's talk about 2019.
All
2019 is when we were invited back to the ballet to guest artist star in Romeo and Juliet as Lord and Lady Capulet. And there was so many obstacles that Catherine had to face with her condition. We see her functioning so well, right? But there is a lot behind the scenes that she had to do. And it was so powerful for not only me, but the audience. That we're back because we did a great job in the performing too. But the inspiration that she gave the other dancers. And we saw her brain rewire itself and do the impossible, medical miracle, which inspired us to apply for the Amazing Race.
Canada.
So if we didn't have that first go around, there's
We
no
would
way
never have
that
done it.
Yeah, we wouldn't have had the confidence to know Catherine could overcome. And of course she did. Not only did she survive the race, but she thrived and we ended up winning.
I mean, you mentioned just kind of seeing that experience at RWB in 2019 and kind of working through those challenges that come with everything.
That was one of the hardest things for me in 2019 because I really didn't trust myself to be able to do it. And Craig was always like, "You can do it, you can do it." And so I was always like, "What do I do next? What happens now?" And then from that, I was like, the performances went on, I was like, "Hey, I know what I'm doing now. I know what I'm doing. It's like going to be good." And so in that spirit, we sent in a video of us in his hotel room, just a 3-minute video of us and our relationship and our friendship.
But there's something so powerful about Catherine's performance with the obstacles she has. Like what she brings as Lady Capulet is not to be missed. Let me tell you, the company itself, you have a world-class company right here in Winnipeg. So if you don't already have your tickets for that, then shame on you. You get your tickets. But then what she does, I think it's that heightened energy of she has to, in the moment, remember what it is. And she's so connected with the material that it is breathtaking. And her Lady Capulet is reason enough to get your tickets now.
And his Lord Capulet, too. He gets very angry.
Well, people that know us from the race know we never fought once.
And we don't get along in the show. In the Romeo and Juliet, we are
There's lots
always,
of tension.
Yeah, lots of tension.
Lots of tension.
All right, so let's talk about a few of those things a little bit more while I've got you here in the studio. If you're just tuning in, I'm chatting with Craig and Catherine, who are reprising their roles as Lord and Lady Capulet. They're also Amazing Race winners. And Craig, you were talking about, again, seeing that sort of behind the scenes as you're working through in 2019 and getting the choreography down. For those who haven't watched The Amazing Race, the season that you were both on, winning the season, we also got a little glimpse of that as viewers as well. Like I'm thinking there was a dance challenge, and I mean, watching you work through that, it was so inspiring. But as like just seeing you tackle that in that moment was just so incredible. And then, as you were saying, the relationship the two of you had, holding each other up as this race goes on, because I can only imagine how strenuous it is. So I have to ask, as someone who's always watched Amazing Races, what was it like to win the race? Like looking back, like could you sum it up in a statement, or is it so much more than that?
I was in shock, complete shock. But just knowing that I did it with Craig meant the world to me. But yeah, you go on and talk about how you felt.
It was a spiritual experience for both of us.
Yeah.
Like afterwards, the first thing that we said to each other is after what we were able to encounter, endure, and do. And for those of you that haven't seen it, please go back and watch it. But we even decided
kind of like a miracle.
There's nothing that can separate our connection, even appending, possible early death for Catherine with her diagnosis. Yeah. There's comfort that winning the race, not just winning the race, I want to make it clear, the experience we had on the race. And the experience, again, to be invited back to be able to do this, everything just feels godly.
Yeah. Just like faithfulness and like just
trust. Trust in each other.
And there's so much of that. I mean, as experienced performers, you know that there's so much trust involved in getting on the stage with your colleagues, with those who are up there with you. And then on top of that, adding to that sort of trust factor and that cohesion is the fact that there's a Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra in the pit right there with you. And I mean, so often the dancers who've come on the show before talk about what a unique experience that is to have that here in Winnipeg. I mean, this is a grand production.
It's such a grand production.
There's nothing like it.
No, it's beautiful. And that music that we're dancing to is like one of the best pieces of music I've ever heard.
People get terrified when I say I really don't absorb the choreography, the scene work, all of that until that symphony is playing live. Like you were connecting with the instruments. Even in rehearsal, I've said, oh, this is where I'm connecting with the flute. Yeah. This is where I'm connecting with these solos, the cello. To have that ability is beyond anything. Like a Broadway stage is also incredible. And we've had many experiences starring on Broadway, but this one, having the whole symphony there and having all of those dancers that are like, you see me, I look like I'm in good shape, right? I am nothing compared to those dancers.
No, me either.
To inspire your kids, to inspire your family, like you need to get to the ballet for the artistry and the athleticism that you're going to see. It's unlike anything.
Can we talk about the two of you, the roles that you're playing, Lord and Lady Capulet? Because you really drive the drama, don't you?
We do a little bit. Just a little bit.
Do you enjoy diving into that side of it?
I love it. I mean, being a different character is what's the best thing about acting, right? And you get to dive into this character, and like she's having an affair. She's, all these different things that are totally not me. And it's nice to be able to feel what that feels like,
Craig, what about you? Do you enjoy stirring the pot as Lord Capulet?
Well, we're trained actors too, and I studied at Steppenwolf, and I've done straight plays. But in 2019, what we're told from the dancers is the influence that we had for them to surrender to the artistry. That's what you're going to see in 5 years later. Is every single one of those company members? It is like I'm in tears. Like it there's moments
many times
where I just can't even control myself, and I want the audience I want people to get in that audience and experience that kind of artistry and that surrender to it. It's easy for us to do and to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And our prep work in the wings is something to see too, because what you don't see, is getting into character and the breath work, connecting the oxygen with the brain into the body, and it's kind of scary actually to see. And the dancers are so intrigued. Like some of the very young dancers are like, "What are you doing? How do I do that?" So if anything, I think that we're really proud of the check mark of having an influence to allow to create an energetic space where we go there. This production is down and dirty.
Yeah. And really also to have the freedom for them to join us in that adventure too is great.
It is going to be a most inspiring tale. Again, a tragedy, but finding triumph in it as well. In terms of everyone's individual stories and, of course, the artistry that is the RWB with the Winnipeg Symphony Orchestra. Romeo and Juliet opens on February 15th on Thursday, running through Sunday. For more details, head to rwb.org or classic107.com and click on the events tab. Craig, Catherine, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.